So today, let's talk about people that we just can't understand. It does happen. Most of the time, we are talking about things like don't expect others to understand you. Stop trying to explain yourself. Don't explain, don't complain. Do your own thing because people who want to get it will get it. But today I want to talk about a different concept, and that is us understanding another person. It is something that we're rather good at, but there are those occasions where we don't understand a situation fully. And those are the situations we get stuck on. Things that we continuously go through in our mind, trying to make sense of it, and it just doesn't happen. So today I want to talk about how I have approached this situation, how I was able to detach from situations after, keeping them in my mind for years and find a better outlook on that. So I hope the lessons that I have learned will help you as well as much as they have helped me. So let's talk about it, and hopefully my experience will help you with addressing similar situations in your life. Before we get started, remember the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp has launched. You can join until our first live call. So we won't have any late admissions. So you have to join before the first live call, which is going to be this Saturday, July 27th. Everything you need to know, you can find in the link in the description. So join our amazing community of INFJs creating their INFJ Epic Life on their terms. And we're doing this together in a very safe and encouraging environment. So I hope to see many of you this Saturday in our first live call. So let's get back on topic. We as INFJs love to understand things. When it comes to understanding, it's always a combination of our first and our third function. Of course, there's the second function. Of course, there's the fourth function, and actually all of the functions, because in the end, it's not just our four functions. But let's keep it simple. Let's really look at the things that we're most likely drawn to. And what we're most likely drawn to is we take in information through, our first function, which has a flavor of the second function. So we understand how people act. We, have a system around it. And then we fine tune it through our third function. That is our understanding function. Yes, and I is the one that makes all the conclusions, but TI is pretty much the one that makes it really precise. That gives us an answer. And if we get to a place where we don't understand, it's on us to recognize that there is a component that we're just not able to understand. As INFJs, I can guarantee you that if you don't get something in the first round of trying to understand it, you're probably not going to get it by trying to understand it even more. That is actually the thing that causes us to get into an NITI loop. It's like, I have the same information available, and now I want to understand it. Something is not adding up. I don't understand what's going on because based on all the pattern recognition that I could do, based on all the experience that I have in my life, based on being right so many times, this is how this situation should play out. And it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. I don't have a clear answer. So this doesn't necessarily mean that we say, oh, I don't understand why this person doesn't like me. Very often people don't like us and it makes complete sense. We understand it and it's easy for us to let go. We don't have such a hard time of letting things go once we've understood them. The thing that is really hard for us is if we don't have a clear answer. If we think, well, it could be like this, but it could also be like this, and I just don't know. I don't know what they're feeling exactly. I don't know exactly what's going on through their mind because it just doesn't make sense to me. And it's in those situations that I have learned that the answer for me is the following. There has to be some aspect of reality that I don't get yet. And this understanding will not come through my third function, meaning it will not come from me trying to understand it better. It will come through my intuition. And in order for things to make sense in our intuition, it might take time. It might take more life experience. It might take just distance. But the way I see the world right now will not give me an answer to this situation. And this has given me a lot of relief because, of course, we don't get the way the world works completely. It's our aspiration, to find like a fundamental truth to things. As in, this is essence. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how life, should evolve. This is what makes sense. Of course, everyone has a unique way of looking at things, but for INFJs, very often this is one of our core themes in life, to understand it and then, put that to the outside and have some impact with it when it comes to either one particular person or a situation or another circumstance. And so the moment I understood that, of course, I'm not getting the full picture now. I didn't get the full picture 10 years ago. I didn't get it 5 years ago. I don't get it now. Yes, I have a fuller and better picture than I used to have, but so hopefully I will have a better and fuller picture in the years to come. And so when I don't understand something, the thing that has really helped me is to understand that I will never ever get an answer if I haven't found an answer yet. At least not from the perspective I'm looking at it. So let's say, for example, you see this row of, letters and it's like A, C, D, what is the next letter? And you don't come to a conclusion of that because of whatever reasons there may be. It could be an F, it could be a G, like whatever it may be. There is no like concrete way this could play out. This is just an example. I haven't even thought about the letters in this regard. The point is, though, that maybe the answer will come when you take a step back, experience some other things, and realize it was never about the letters to begin with. It was all about the way they were positioned. So one maybe was on the left upper corner, the other one was on the right upper corner, the other one was on the left lower corner, and so the missing piece is over here. So this has helped me tremendously because I've had the hardest time letting go of things. And it's like this for every personality type, I feel, that we have this overindulgence in our third function, thinking that that third function is going to give us the answers that we need. And sometimes we cannot get the answer we want with the way we see the world right now, with how much we tap into our second function, with the experience that we've had, whatever it may be. And that might be the answer that we need. So although our mind would want to find a solution and would want to find an understanding, repeating to ourselves that I already have all the information. I already have absolutely everything I need to make the best possible conclusion in the situation. And if I'm not able to, I'm not going to get it. And that's okay. Like really recognizing our limitations. We are not this, super mastermind who's going to find a solution and understanding for every single situation. We're pretty good at certain things, but, there's still a blind spot. Of course, we don't have this perfect understanding of how the world works, and we will have a better understanding next year, in 5 years, whenever it may be. But if things are just not making sense, take a step back and understand that you have understood the situation as much as you possibly can. And what are the conclusions there? If you don't have something that gives you a clear answer, you have to just accept that. We're not going to get everything. And this acceptance has really helped me because once I understood, okay, that's always going to be something that is going to be an open thing in my mind. And as long as I indulge in that, I'm always going to try to understand it. And it will never, ever give me a solution. On the other hand, if I, allow life to happen, I allow myself to grow, I allow myself to go in a direction that is good for me, independent of this one situation, I actually will gather wisdom. And then maybe with more distance, with more clarity, with more time, I will have the answer that I'm looking for. And that answer won't be found necessarily in TI. That answer will be found in our intuition. Because the tools that we have in our third function, they're pretty much like at a really good state already. They're not going to get that much better. We are approaching the world mainly through our first function. Everybody is. So it's much more likely that there is a pattern and an overall understanding on an intuitive level that we're missing than the preciseness of our third function. But if you have, as I said, a different approach, if you have a different way of looking at the situation, we will have an answer. Because again, like think of it, maybe you will never know what other letter was supposed to be there, but you understand that that wasn't even the question. That you weren't supposed to find the letter based on what the other letters were like, but based on where they were put at, or whatever it may be. The question might be a completely different one. There is a blind spot. And there's always going to be a blind spot. We're never going to get the full picture. We can really go at it with everything that we know at this moment. You do as best as you can with what you currently have. And then if you don't have an answer, no, you're not going to get it at this moment. Nothing is going to change. You don't need to think about it more. That's not going to be the solution. So live life, do more with your second function, express yourself, like really take in what you have learned about the world so far and express it one way or another. Express it through the way you live your life. Express it through, the impact you're having on the people around you with what you currently have. And that will give you feedback from the world. That will change your perception of life. That will change the perception of yourself. And with that, you will gain another understanding. And if you look at the past, I'm sure you can see the same thing. Like situations that were so, heart-wrenching for you, that if you look at them now, years later, they're completely clear to you. And you're thankful they're not in your sphere anymore. That this wasn't something that I was ever going to fix or understand to begin with. And only now, when I'm able to look at it from a greater distance, I can actually see what this is really about. And that answer that I was looking for might not even interest me anymore. And even if it did interest me, maybe now I have the answer that I was looking for. The most important part is don't get stuck in situations that are holding you back from creating your life because you want to understand so much. Of course, we want to understand. That's what we're here for. That's, where we go in. That's who we are. But we tend to overindulge and not do it in a healthy way. So if you think about it, the best conclusions you've probably had in a really short amount of time. And if you didn't find an answer, you probably didn't have it a year later either. So hopefully having that in the back of your mind will help you with any situations that are sort of like open-end and you don't know what they're about. You're probably not going to get the answer right now, so stop thinking about it. It's just not going to lead to anything fruitful, because otherwise you probably would have already understood the situation. That being said, the things that we do understand is, though, what the right next step is for us. We don't know the entire picture, but we definitely know how we can move forward. And this is what we work in the bootcamp on together. So it's a great community. We're not only encouraging each other, but you actually see other people's experience. What was that one INFJ able to accomplish in their life? What was necessary? What are the tactics and the strategies that work for us in order to actually have momentum in our life towards the life we want to experience, and showing up in the most authentic way where we feel like I'm tapping into my potential. So I hope many of you join this bootcamp round, and I hope we get to talk to each other this Saturday in our first live call. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in line with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.